Ivy Slater, and you're listening to Her Success Story Podcast, a show where gutsy businesswomen share their success journey. Hi, it's Ivy Slater. Welcome to this episode of Her Success Story. Today, I have Tricia Brouk. She's an international award-winning director. She works in the theater, film, and television. Her credits are numerous. Her awards are in there. In addition to her work in the entertainment industry and what she's going to chat with us a little bit about today, she applies her talent and expertise to the art of public speaking. Ladies and gentlemen, public speaking is not something you do only from the stage. You do it every day at work. You do it every time you walk in almost every location. So it's an important thing to actually stay tuned to. She's an executive producer she's the executive producer of Speakers Who Dare, a TEDx producer. She choreographs Black Box on ABC, The Affair on Showtime, Rescue Me on Fox, John Turturro's Romance and Cigarettes, where she was awarded a Golden Thumb Award from Roger Ebert. Her credits go on and on. More importantly, Trisha, thank you for taking time out of an incredibly busy schedule, my girlfriend here, to join me and chat today with our listeners.
Thank you, Ivy, for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
So your background's in the entertainment industry.
Correct.
I'm going to say that has been years and years and years. Just give us an overview of what a little bit in the entertainment industry you have done. Obviously, you've been a choreographer, so you were a dancer.
I moved to New York City to pursue a career in classical modern dance, worked with Lucinda Childs, Robert Wilson, big dance theater, had an incredible career traveling the world, dancing in Paris Opera House, Vienna Opera House, Lincoln Center, BAM in Brooklyn. I have been on stage my entire life. And when I decided that I wanted to do more things and have a bigger reach because my impact was limited to the number of seats in the theater and the amount of time I was on stage, I realized I wanted to wrap up my dance career by doing a one-woman dance show. I had started choreographing a little bit and realized I could choreograph solos. I could do all the solos that other choreographers had made on me throughout my career, and I could have a final performance. And that's exactly what I did. I spent 9 months creating my show, just like giving birth. I hired an understudy so I could watch her do the dances and make sure that the show flowed the way I wanted. And I really treated it like an athlete treats preparing for a marathon. And I think of this as the Zen sand sculptures that the Buddhist monks put together, and they spend hours and days putting together this beautiful sand mandala, and when they're done, they wipe it away. And that's exactly what I felt like in terms of my dance career. I was ready to move on. And from there, I moved directly into more choreography and then directing and then writing and producing. So I've really been in showbiz my entire life and have had the privilege of living and working in New York City, fulfilling my dream.
That is absolutely incredible. And so, I mean, truly, the people who listen to our show, it is not easy to pursue a true career in the arts, in the entertainment, and especially, I'm going to say, in dance. I don't, Trisha, I think you know, I have a background in dance myself. I have a degree in dance. I did not go on to dance professionally. I ended up going into the business world in my 20s. You know, part of it is it's not easy to make a living in that field. So hats off to you, and what a learning lesson that is.
Well, thank you. And let me be clear. I never wanted to be a starving artist in New York City. I don't think that's sexy. And I also didn't want to wait tables. So I got really creative and started my own business in 1993. I started a fitness company and realized that I could actually make money while I was touring by hiring consultants to train my clients. So I started a fitness company and was able to subsidize my career. I mean, I was being paid to dance, but nobody's getting rich dancing, right? So
No,
I was definitely an entrepreneur and somebody who was innovative from the very beginning, because I knew that I wanted to live in the apartment without roommates. I knew that I wanted to buy the shoes I want. I knew that I wanted to take myself out to dinner and have a martini if I felt like it. And that wasn't going to be possible if I was making $200 a week. So I was very clear from the beginning that I was going to live the life that I desired, and I got creative in how I did that.
Such an amazing learning lesson here, because it's when we set our mind to something and we make a decision and we follow it up with those actions, what we can achieve.
Without question. And I continue to use the mantra, keep the story moving. I recently spoke at I Heart My Life Live, and I talked about what happened when I was 13 years old and was competing for the Petite Junior Miss Dance competition in St. Louis. And part of that competition was the modeling portion, which I hated. I thought it was so ridiculous because they made you walk on stage as they introduced you and talked about your hobbies. Now, if you're 13 and you're dancing, you don't have hobbies. That's all you're doing. But what was amazing is all the other girls had these beautiful pink ruffle and lace dresses. And my dress was from Sears and it was gray, no color. And I thought to myself, these are the girls who win the competition. These are the girls who moved to New York and dance with Baryshnikov. But what happened was I won the competition. And in that moment, I realized anything was possible. And a girl in a gray dress from Arnold, Missouri could do anything. And I have used that to inspire myself for my entire career. And what you're saying is true. When you make the decision to go after your desires and you also take the action, and in my studies now, it's like, you can't ask how. You have to just trust the universe is going to provide and the gift will show up. So that's how I live my life now. I keep the story moving. I'm clear on my desires, crystal clear on what I want. I go after it voraciously, and then I wait and see when it comes.
I love that. And, I have to say, people who are dedicated to the arts understand the concept of you really go after something. You truly dedicate yourself. You have that structure, you have that commitment. You're committed to your art form, you're committed in dance, you're committed to your body, your health. And there's something, when you leap, you have to trust somebody is going to catch you. And that trust as we build businesses, the trust in the universe. And I love what you said, because it's so true and a strong belief of mine, of let go of the how.
Yes, absolutely. You have to detach to the outcome and not have linear thinking, which is, how am I ever going to make a living dancing, right? If I asked that question, I wouldn't have gotten creative and started a business so that I could make a living dancing. If I asked how I'm going to make the world a better place, I would never get out of bed, because that's a pretty big question. But I do know that I am making the world a better place by putting people on big stages and onto the big screen who have important messages. And I get up every day knowing that just doing that work will have the ripple effect and will take care of the how.
So let's talk about Trisha, the entrepreneur. So you moved from dance into more producing, directing, choreography, and now you've built this business. Tell us a little bit about what you have going on in your world today.
I am, in addition to continuing to work in the film, theater, and television, I also produce the new event, Speakers Who Dare. 3 years ago, a friend of mine reached out and said, I'm doing a TEDx and I want you to direct me. And I thought, well, that sounds super fun, just like a one-woman show. We'll work on blocking and choreography. We'll work on the script like a dramaturg. I will give you intentional acting choices and it'll be really fun. And that's exactly what it was. It was really, really fun. I didn't think anything of it. And then after she performed her TEDx, she reached out and she said, you should really do this. People need what you're doing. And I thought, okay, again, letting the universe give me the gift of helping me raise my vibration to the frequency of what the universe knew was possible for me, all of a sudden, all of these speakers showed up in my world. And I had these incredible thought leaders and no place to put them. Well, what do theater producers do? They put on shows. What's the best show for speakers? TEDx. So I got my license. I applied to TED. I got my license. I became the executive producer of TEDx Lincoln Square. Produced 2 years of events with Jamie Broderick, my co-producer, all sold out, standing ovations both times, and then decided I need more creative control. So I'm going to leave my position as executive producer. I'll certainly support other TEDx events and continue working with speakers like that, but I need to produce my show my way. And that's when we decided to create Speakers Who Dare, which is all about putting people onto our stage who are saying what we're thinking. It's still theatrical academia. There's music, there's dance. This year there's going to be a band on stage. So I'm continuing to, like I said earlier, keep the story moving with how I produce this event. And I've put over 45 speakers onto more than 15 TED stages in the last 2 years. I'm super passionate about helping people get their message out there. I'm really excited about teaching people and bringing awareness to the language of TED. And Chris Anderson's book is fantastic. If you haven't read it, get it. The audiobook is equally as fun because he reads his own stuff and it's great.
And fun. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
I'm an audiobook listener on a lot of things.
Yeah, it's great. You'll love it. He does a great job. And I've really, really moved into the space of making the world a better place by working with speakers who also want to have global impact. In addition to producing my events and making movies, I am now making documentary films about people who are doing incredible things. Justin von Boydish, who is the Buddhist chaplain at Rikers Island. I read about him in a magazine and thought, I have to make a film about this person. He's teaching meditation to the corrections officers, not to the inmates, to the corrections officers. Ooh. And I thought that is incredibly powerful. So I reached out to him on LinkedIn and he responded. I took him to coffee. And right then and there, he said, yeah, let's do it. So I began to spend time with him and his family, go through the process of what it means to get permission to shoot on Rikers Island, a very dangerous prison in New York City.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's explain what Rikers Island is, because it is not an easy place to get permits here. And New York City is pretty tight on that.
Yeah, it was a long process, and they couldn't have been nicer, I have to say. It was a very pain-free and lovely process to get permission to shoot in a prison. And that film has been an incredible, incredible gift, not only to me, but to Justin and to, I think, the world. I mean, it has won all these awards. It won Best Documentary Short at the Olympus Film Festival last year. Wow. It was up for an Oscar nomination. And it's just been an incredible gift to be able to share Justin's story with the world. That's what I'm up to, Ivy.
Well, let me ask you this. So many of our listeners are speakers who want to either expand their speaking, or people who are getting ready to speak, or even an enormous amount of attorneys who speak at their local bar associations, right. Which is important. So let's talk a little bit about, this part of your business, of your career today and what you do. The average Joe, right? Not the professional speaker, not necessarily the National Speakers Association speaker, but let's start with the smaller speakers and then go to the bigger speakers.
I think we all have a responsibility to communicate in an authentic, intentional way with dignity. And that's something I feel really strongly about. I always say I'm creating an army of heart-centered, authentic speakers because there's so much communication happening from the top right now that is just irresponsible. And if I can teach anybody, whether you are a parent or a teacher or a barista, how to communicate in a way that is respectful, dignified, and authentic, that's how we make the world a better place. And I'm not saying we all have to share the same opinion. I am saying we need to learn how to communicate in a way with differing opinions that still demands respect. And when you understand how to listen, how to communicate, then there is more community, there is more uplifting of each other, there's less war. And so I think that the work that I'm doing, whether it's in New York with the Speaker Salon, creating this incubator for some people who come to the Speaker Salon have never walked onto my stage before, and any stage. Some people have come to the Speaker Salon and they're already a TEDx speaker and they want to improve. That's what I think is so interesting and important, is that we can always improve our communication skills. And I think anybody who has a family, anybody who's got a partner, you don't have to have kids to know what this means. You can have kids to know what this means. We have to constantly up-level our communication skills. And that means knowing what somebody needs from you. How to communicate to this person is different from how you communicate with that person. So I think the art of communication, I call this the big talk revolution, is on stage and off.
It's so true. It's so true. When I'm brought into corporations on leadership, the first thing we start with is communication. For me, the greatest skills in leadership is starting to teach and enhance communication skills. So I agree with you. I'm behind you 1,000% here.
Thank you.
So in getting ready to take on the bigger speaking moments in life, and those bigger speaking moments, whether it be that TEDx, whether it be, saying I do in front of a crowd of 100 or 2, what thoughts or tips, advice can you share with some of our listeners that when you speak, and it could be, those also bigger moments is going in and asking for that raise. These are all the combination of big moments that we're speaking.
I think that the most important thing to keep in mind is you want to be able to feel a certain way. You want to visualize what that experience looks like, and you need to rehearse it. And in terms of asking for a raise, if you are rehearsing this ask in front of your cat with zero response, you are not preparing yourself for the response of your manager. And I think rehearsing is so important, because when you're in front of people, your body betrays you. You either start sweating, your mouth gets dry, your legs shake, you begin to talk in a weird way or backtrack what you've asked for. I mean, how many of us have said, I would like a $10 raise? Well, 5's okay. Because we haven't waited for the person to say yes. And that is why rehearsing is so important. And that means in front of somebody else, not your mirror, not your cat, not your dog, because that mild stress will cause your body to have a physiological reaction, and you need to understand how to be able to communicate while your body's doing that. So first, rehearse under mild stress, then increase that stress. So maybe mild stress is your partner, then increase that stress a little bit. Maybe it's your colleagues. Increase the stress a little bit more. Invite 20 people that you don't know to watch you do this talk. And if you're asking for a raise, or if you are about to walk down the aisle, visualize it and experience how you want to feel. You want to feel love. You want to feel, if you're asking for a raise, you want to feel empowered. Give yourself the opportunity to experience that so you can recreate it in the room. And that will empower you as a speaker.
I love that. And you're right. It is so, rehearsing is so important. From the early days in dance to asking for that first job, that first raise, to everything we do. And I love your advice to actually do it live. Because I remember when I first started speaking, I used to line up my kids' stuffed animals. And pretend they were an audience. And it wasn't until I had an assistant and I was like, okay, You need to listen to me, hear that. And you're right, that energy, that nervous tension, the stumbling of the words didn't happen with the stuffed animals. I was
Right.
clear and precise with them.
Right. Yeah. You become self-conscious when someone else is there, and you have to work through that.
I love that. I love that. So tell us, so you have Speakers Who Dare and you have this amazing academy, yet her success story reaches all over the globe. So tell us a little bit about how our listeners can learn from you, because you've traveled the globe and now you have a global reach.
Thank you. I am excited about having a global reach. The Speaker Salon does happen in New York City, but because it's live and in person for 6 weeks, not everybody can relocate to the city. I am very excited about founding the Big Talk Academy, which is a virtual 12-week certification program where I take everybody on the journey of mining for ideas, writing your talk, learning how to write an opening and a closing, an introduction and a conclusion. I also teach the Academy members how to pitch organizers and how to perform talks. And these videos are amazing because I worked with Antoine Ramon, who is in Hamilton on Broadway, and Sarah Montana, who is a TED speaker. So you get to watch me direct these two rock stars and see how it works so that you can become a captivating speaker. And so what's awesome is it's all virtual, except there's 2 calls a month with me. And at the end, I curate a virtual showcase. The showcase that happens in New York City is how the salon culminates and you get to perform live on stage. And I thought, I'm going to see if that's possible virtually. And in September, it was our first virtual showcase, and all of the speakers performed in front of their computer, and I gave live feedback and direction in real time, and it was incredibly powerful. So I'm super excited to be able to provide and teach the technique that I work with speakers to people who live all over the world.
So, one of the things that I adore about you, Tricia, is you don't let limitations or boundaries that other people can see as limitation and boundaries ever stop you. So here is, when we speak live, right? But Tricia was able to transcend this into something that you could actually perform and get that feedback. So hats off to you. Hats off for your ability to take your creative side, your brilliance, into an evergreen and ever-loving career path for you. And there's so much to learn here for other women, other entrepreneurs, and other women leaders.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Ivy.
So Tricia, how can our listeners stay in touch or learn more about you?
You can find me at triciabrouk.com. I'm all over social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. And if you're interested in the Big Talk Academy, you can hop on the waiting list and you'll get access to it before anyone else. And it's thebigtalkacademy.com.
Awesome. Listeners, you definitely want to check Tricia out. As we were talking about, speaking is not just for people who think they're going to speak on stage to 200, 500, or 1,000 people. Speaking is something we do in our daily lives. We do it at wonderful occasions of weddings. We do it at monumental opportunities of growing ourselves and asking for raises. We speak in front of groups of people at work. We speak when we sell. So always remember, speaking is a really, really important component to everything we do in our clarity, and Tricia is a great resource. Thank you for joining me here today. And lastly, listeners, remember to hit subscribe, and most important, leave us a review. Let us know what you want, leave us a response, and I'll always say, I love to sit and read what your biggest takeaways are from today's podcast. So thanks for joining us today. We will see you next time on Her Success Story.